down there. There's a circular. There you go. You got it.
Yeah.
And it turns out the record was next to remove, right? On the thing. And
so yeah, you hit that, and then like.
No, but I had it also. I've got to change the master setting. The master setting says that if you do that, it means you don't want to let them back in, right?
Yeah, well, because
that's not what I want to have happen. Yeah, but I mean, I don't have those sort of meetings, right? So, okay. But in the meantime, thank you for your patience and understanding with all of that. By the way, last time I heard someone with the name spelling you have, I called them Rhys because they were in Wales.
That is 100% the correct way to pronounce it.
Am I doing it correctly? Okay,
yeah, well,
good.
It's the Welsh way of spelling Rhys.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought that had happened, by the way, but I didn't want to close it down because I thought it may not have happened. Anyway, I'm glad you told me. But anyway, I've sent you that 3-minute, 42-second video.
Yep.
That is really, really cool, and that's going to, I think, answer a lot of the questions. But you mentioned what I thought I would do, Rhys, is just quickly, because again, you've got a deadline. Yeah.
It's just gonna be.
You just let me know how that.
That's fine. I mean, we've still got probably another half an hour, so.
Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take you just a second into one of my accounts. 1 second. And so you should see something that says when someone registers for the Standard Chartered Marathon or whatever. Right? So this is one of my accounts, and when you set up your account, you won't see that, but it does talk about this whole idea of creating giving stories. So, but I'll talk about what that means in a minute. But yours would be blank, rather obviously, when you get there. So what B1G1 does, Rhys, is allow you to link, for example, a customer journey or moments of, touch moments or whatever, to doing great things. And so, for example, we have a lot of B1G1 members who say every time I send an email, kid gets access to water. We have, so it's really, really cool as to what you do. And in the financial advice side of things, there's lots of other things. When we create a new client, this is what happens, and And the point is that you're in total control of that. Now, at one point, and so B1G1 has, if you could imagine this, so it has some nearly 500 really high integrity projects. The board of B1G1 rejects 9 out of every 10 that apply. Mm-hmm. So when you go and look at, as I'm doing here now, view all projects, this is going to go on forever. Okay. Yeah. So this is kind of like shopping on Amazon. If, for example, we want to have a look at one, let's say this one here, for example, and then I can see the description. I can see that for 1 cent, I'm able to do this. I can also see that if I need to drop down here, that for $3.36, we can educate an entire year. And up here, we're going to see the global goals that that particular project relates to, if that makes sense. Yeah. So what we could do is, let's say, for example, it was your birthday today. What we could do, I could do some ad hoc giving. I could say, oh yeah, Rhys is really into education. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to the cart. In fact, I think I just did this a minute ago, so there's going to be more than one in the cart. Let's have a look. Yeah, here it is here. And I'm going to say, well, gosh, giving him just 1 cent is a bit weird, right? So I might say, let's do 1,200 of them or something, or whatever it was, or 11,000 of them in that particular case. Yep. And and that would be like ad hoc. Does that make sense? There was this something happened today, bang, let's do something. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, that would be, consider that as shopping for a project on, as you might on Amazon.
Yeah, the whole shop, like looking for obviously project.
Yeah,
like close to.
Correct. But that's the long-winded way. But it's it's there, right? And what I wanted to get across to you was that from that point of view, it's very easy. It's very, very easy to do, right? And you've got all these different categories and everything else you can select. But then what you might want to do, given that you have repeatable things that are happening in the firm, then you want to set up what we call giving stories. And so a giving story, let me just do that here. I just go, you see up here, there's impact, there's two tabs, impact and connect. So anything to do with giving is under this tab. Anything doing with connection, and I'll talk about that in a minute, is under here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a giving story. So we might say when someone, helpful if you spell correctly here, someone joins AFM.
Yep.
Whoops, I'm doing capitals. AFM as a new client, as a example. So that's the trigger. Now, at the moment, these are manual triggers. So nothing happens automatically. So these become
cool. So it is all manual. Yep.
It's but you can now link webhooks and all sorts of other things. You can, and also you'll be able to integrate it directly into Xero and stuff like that.
Okay. That's good. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
because I guess that was my next question. Is
So
how does
the webhooks are going to be first. They're about 3 weeks away. And the Xero integration is down the track about 8 weeks, I think, after that. So now you've set up this trigger. So now what you can do is you can upload a picture. For example, I can't think of it. Let's put another financial advisor's face up there. This is Larry Fink. At BlackRock, for example, the CEO of BlackRock. So we'll use his photograph but you get the point. It can be anything.
Yeah.
And then we're going to say, okay, let's link it to a project. And we might say, well, the project is going to have something to do with, let's say, income generation, as a for example, right? So we pick that, and then we simply say, okay, search. And so then all of the projects that have something to do with that just come up along the bottom here, and for some reason I'm not saying. Oh, there we go. There's zillions of them. Right?
So with that, with that minimum value, is that the minimum you have to do for that exact thing to happen?
The projects start from 1 cent.
Yes. Well, because I've just noticed obviously they're a bit different pricing.
Yeah. So this is telling you what it is to create an impact, right?
Okay. Yep.
And the whole thing is around impact. So let's say we wanted to do it. Let's see. There's one that's a very favorite of mine over here. This is a good one, right? On a beekeeping business. That one's kind of cool. So we might do that. And we might say, let's do it for, let's just do that. We won't add it to the cart this time because we're just looking at what that does. So what we'll do here now is we'll select it as the project. And we can obviously increase this number. We might say, we give 7 days of keeping or whatever.
And it's all monitored as well. That's good.
Yeah. So now we've created the giving story. Well, almost. And if I do this, we can see now there's that giving story there.
That was created by you.
Okay. Yeah. And then what you would do manually, you can say, okay, at the end of the week, for example, you might say, well, okay, how many clients joined us this week? And you would put that number in there. Let's say for the sake of discussion, it was 12 for the sake of discussion. And then you would simply add that to the cart. Does that make sense?
So for every week, we would have to update that and just add it to the cart and just keep that process.
Well, that giving story would remain the same. So given that you could of course change the giving story. And what some people actually do is in for example March they say this is all of our projects are going to be income generation projects. They might say in April they're going to be environmental projects. In June, they might be women's empowerment. Do you see what I'm saying? So you get this frequent change up, which is really cool.
Like with, so let's say you've done 12 clients this week and you've gone add to cart, then what happens next week? Do you do the same thing, add to cart, or does it?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Now you can automate some of that, but usually people want to unhook the automation. And the reason they want to do that is because this just makes them feel so good, right? Look at that. right?
Yeah, and then plus it's you doing it as well, and it's, you know, like you're putting in the correct information and everything. So
yeah, sure. And just so that you know, just whilst we're here, I'll show you something. You can
yeah, I was looking at that button. That's the first thing that caught
I
my
saw that button, right. So
eye.
you could do that and copy the code,
Okay,
and
cool.
then
So
you
you can put
put
that
that
in.
on your site. But I'm going to show you more about that in just a minute. Okay.
Yep.
So now you've already seen two ways of doing the giving. Obviously, you can have, you know, zillions of these things and so on. So let's just imagine now that you'd done the giving, and you set it all up, and it's obviously not that difficult to set up.
Mm-hmm.
So now we need to look at the other aspect of this, which is the Connect tab. So what B1G1 is doing, Rhys, is it's actually tracking every single impact that you create.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gives you these counters that you can then embed. So this is not B1G1 but as a whole, by the way. This is one of my personal accounts.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So you could say, and you can customize this. You could say, well, in AFM we don't like blue. We much prefer.
Oh, so you can. Yeah, that's good. Customization.
Right. So you can change the color. You can make it sort of Justin Bieber or whatever you want. And you can say,
yeah, that's we don't even as well.
Yeah, you can change the font.
That's very ironic.
Yes. Then you can change the rows there. Now it's 4
oh,
rows.
okay, so yeah, as a widget.
So if you had a long website, you would do it that way, or you do it that way, and then you just simply save that, and then again,
does it sit stationary or does it move around as you scroll?
No. It's right. I'll show you that in just a moment.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Now, in exactly the same way, so you get the same thing with the embed code. So then, in exactly the same way, what you then do is say copy. That's how it goes. Okay. Why is it not going? I'm not sure why it's not going. In exactly the same way, these are these sustainable development goals, and you can you can do exactly the same thing. Again, just copy like that. Down here, of course, underneath all of that, you'll see the map. Now, the map is really cool. Yeah. And again, you can embed the map. So, and there's all sorts of other things you can embed. But if I now take you, for example, to a specific, so this particular company is a training company. Oh, can you see that, by the way?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
You can, yeah. Okay, and what everybody has in B1G1, if I just go back to their main site or their front page, everybody in B1G1 has an impact.
Because that's, I guess, that was the plan as well, to have an actual individual page on our website to embed all those things as well. Like obviously have something on the homepage.
Right, and you can call it whatever you want. We just know that when you call it impact, people will click it.
Yep.
And so the typical format of an impact page is where you say, here at AFM, we're really, really proud of the impact we have on our clients and their lives. And then you say, but uniquely, we take that impact even further, right? So that's the whole purpose of that. So then, and we help you work with that and so on with the wording. And then the thing I want to stress now is this is their site, and it's linking in real time to all of the data.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. Real time. So now we go down, they say, here's their why, and then we see their impacts. And let me just move this. So if I move this around here, and then we will discover, see that? So when we move over, can you see how it's being reported? It's never about the money. It's always about
what actually was the benefit, not the monetary value. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that one?
And you can see over here.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you. Is that one in Australia?
Which one?
Because I guess one of the other questions was as well, like, is this all overseas, or do you have? No.
I'll show you that in just.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting too ahead of myself.
No. You're okay. You're really good. Really, really good. But anyway, you're getting the idea so far. So it's pretty. It's hopefully.
No, this is all really good stuff, because this is kind of how I envisioned our I mean, let's say charity page or impact page, and then we can have a whole lot of information on there as well.
By the way, just as a thing, we just for future reference, you will never hear us use the word charity.
Charity, yeah.
And you will never hear us use words like donate. Let me just explain why. Because we know that from all the work we do, because we've been doing this since 2007, so we know that when people use the word charity, 60% of people switch off. Because they've had a very bad experience themselves, or they know someone.
Yeah.
So we always use the word projects.
Yep.
And we never use the word donate, which is also a sort of a charity thing. We will use the word give and stuff like that. But now, have a look what happens over here. Now, what I'm going to do is just refresh this page because I want you to see something. So now these guys are very into the global goals. And so now you can see what's happening there, and you can see them counting up and so on and so forth. And that, of course, that's their individual stuff. That's not B1G1 as a whole.
Yeah, that's just what they've done. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It is cool. And you can see how easy it is to pop that stuff in. Now, I could show you lots of other sites. But for example, what they do is they pop up their giving stories in there as well, because they're embeddable. And again, it's tracking the giving to those specific projects, right? And to talk about the let me just go over here and get rid of that one for the minute. And where do I want to go? You talked about local, okay? And local is really, really important. Now, bear in mind also, Rhys, that I said, let me just go to a particular page here. But I said the board of B1G1 rejects around 9 out of every 10 projects that apply. Now, there's all sorts of reasons for that, but what I want you to get is that there's a lot of due diligence that goes on.
Yeah. Well, you guys would know, if it's fake or if it's going to be worth it. I'm sure you get that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And of course, many of the local projects, like you go, oh, well, hang on a second, they're not going to be B1G1. So is B1G1 saying you should stop giving locally? Of course not. Of course not. But what we are saying is we want to know about those local projects so that, that you might want them to be in B1G1, because when they become a part of B1G1, their funding changes dramatically, right? So, but let's just show you something that only hit me about 3 or 4 months ago. And what I'm going to do is show you just a second, it's a .com.au. Can you see that site?
Yeah. Oh, once you hit enter, yeah. I was going to say I know Collins. Well, we know Collins. Yeah,
there you go. Well, they are really cool B1G1 clients and have been for about 5 years now. So you'll notice now that they have a tab here called Our Giving Impact. They know that we would much prefer them to call that Impact.
Impact, yeah.
Now, if you know Collins Hume, you know that they're in a town, Ballina, of about 26,400 people. So therefore, local becomes very important to them.
Yes.
So let's have a look at how they do this. So if I go to their Giving Impact, you will see up here, together, and then you'll see it says just here, it says, where do we give? Okay. Now you'll notice here, Ballina Coast High School, the Lennox Head Football Club. I mean, none of these projects are ever going to be approved in B1G1, right?
Yeah.
The Lennox Head Club hasn't got a snowflake chance and all kind of thing, right? But the guys at Collins Hume know that, but they also know these projects and they love to do it. They actually do a lot of things with the kids which are just awesome at the Ballina Coast High School with B1G1. It's just awesome what they do with them. So if you were now I was going to say Balinese, I guess that's not what you call people living in Ballina. Anyway, if you lived in Ballina, right?
Yeah.
Then what is going to happen is you are going to give this thing here one big tick. This is, oh yeah, okay, they're giving locally. Wow, really cool. And then as you scroll down,
then you see.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing I got recently. What I suddenly understood is that local is really great, but local and global is awesome.
Yeah, well, because I guess that's what we want to do, because we are doing a lot of local stuff
Yeah,
at the moment. Like
yeah,
even next week, we're doing like the family dinner program for Ronald McDonald House and a few
right.
others as well. So having local and global as well. That page you
Mm.
showed me is definitely sort of encapsulates what sort of we want to do on AFM website. So
Yeah, yeah. And obviously we work with you to make that happen as well. So
yep.
so how's that?
Yeah, that was really
make
good. I like that. I like that.
we were able to do it in record time too.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, it's only 1:17 here, so that's handy. So
What other questions might you have?
I mean, if it's all just simple embedding, that's fine, because I can do that in the back end.
Yes, you can.
Do you have a tech support line or anything like that?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And you either access that through email, or alternatively, when you're up on the site,
yep,
there's like a chat box and says, "Okay, what's the issue?" And
yep,
bang, yeah, it's there.
So I guess
we had we did have some. No, we that got overused because we got hit with something. It wasn't a breach or anything like that, but
like a spam or something.
Well, no, we were going through a massive site redesign, and part of that was to do a whole lot of stuff around the APIs and so on and so forth. And the guy that was doing that for us was someone that we knew. In fact, we used to share an office, right? Someone that has a good reputation, all the things you want to go for.
Yeah.
And he happened to hire a Russian hacker.
Oh, wow. Like knowingly or obviously?
When you saw this guy's skill set, you would understand what he was capable of doing. And we talk about a broken site. You have no idea what
they can get in a lot of ways.
No. We were like 3 months, in fact, a bit longer. And it was like, should we put a gun to our heads because this is.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it was. So,
yeah,
but anyway, thank goodness.
At least you got through.
Yeah, we did.
That's good. That's good news. So I guess from this discussion, what would be, because I mean, John's pretty keen. I just need to get his okay. But what would be the next step, I guess, if we would just said yes today?
Okay. Well, if you go to that link, let me just whilst I'm here, I'll show you.
Yep.
Let me see. Just bear with me a second.
Yeah.
In fact, that video has this link on it, but I'll just show it you live because it is a little different when you see it live.
Okay.
But if we go here, lost Zoom for a minute. There we go. So I'm just going to go into share. Here we go. And okay. So if I go here, I'm just going to try a new link. And I'm also trying to think what it was that the link was. Oh, no.
Oh, the video.
No, I know the video link. I'm just going to do this other one.
Okay.
Global. Let's see if this works. It should. Cross the fingers. Yes, it does. Look at that. So on the video, there is a link. Okay, so when you on the end, it's not a hot link. It's a you've got a keyed in link.
Yeah.
But this is where it will take you, and then what happens is you go down here. So fundamentally, when I was talking with John, and indeed at that conference, one of the things we talked about was this new way you can join B1. Oh, there you go. The chat catches. Is we said it's $1 a day, depending on your company size. That is US dollar a day. B1G1 want to be a part of this whole thing, and I think from memory, John indicated that on his card that he filled in that day that AFM was a 3. Now, if you just take a note of this,
Was what? Sorry.
Rhys, well, it was what we call a 3. I'll show you what that means.
3. Okay. Yep.
Okay. So because it depends upon your revenue as to whether it's $1 a day, $2 a day, or $3 a day, right? Sort of.
Okay.
So and you'll see how you do that here. So you come down here and you see. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see.
So it says tiny business, and that's up to 250, I think. And there you go. So now you slide it up, and I'm pretty sure John said so that's sort of greater than 1.2. So the break is 1.2 US million US. So if you're below that, you're at $2.
So we have to remember that this is all in US currency, so we'll have to do the conversion.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So, yeah. So, and I think said from memory, you're there, and it's $3 US a day kind of thing as well. And so then what you would do is you go through that. You'll see here, and I think John indicated this. You can see here that. Down here when you press the join, let me just check this. Yes, you can see here. Oh, sorry, here.
Oh yeah. So you can go monthly.
You can just click monthly, and so it comes up at 99 a month, kind of thing. And then in your case, on that video, there would be a link. And which the benefit or the link gives you a very nice surprise at the end of it. Right? So, obviously, I can't tell you what the surprise is because then it wouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, we'll say that's the whole point of the surprise.
So, is that clear?
No, that's really good, and I'm glad I'm recording this as well because then I can just hand this over to John and he can watch it in his own time as well.
Yeah. And then the next thing that happens, although you may not deem that you need it, but the next thing that usually happens is you will arrange for a one-on-one call with one of the team in B1G1, and they'll basically take you through what I just took you through, but they'll also add a few other things in there. So we call that a getting started call. Yeah. And that's the first part of it, but then it's, forever you've got the global team kind of working with you on all of those things. And then I also haven't shown you one of the things, for example, I didn't show you is the what we call the gratitude certificate. So just let me quickly show you that. So that you can see it. Just a second. And this is kind of easy to do as well. So let me just jump into another area of this here. Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. So let's imagine, and I know you can't see it yet, but you will be able to in a minute. Let's imagine. So you remember we talked about the Connect tab, and we talked about how that lets you, embed things on the website. Well, the other part of that is what we call gratitude certificates, which are a way of connecting the client directly to what actually happened.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'll show you. I'll show you an example of that. So, and this happens to be an accounting example as opposed to a page management thing, but you'll get it. No, you'll get it. You'll see how it works. So let me just share the screen here again. And just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Can you see something that says add a new giving story?
Yeah.
All right. So let's just imagine that this is a US version of it, but you'll see what happens here. So, and you already know how to do this because we did that before.
Yeah.
So exactly. So let's just do this. So what they're going to do is add a giving story that says when we complete a tax return. There we go. And then they're going to pick, now funnily enough, they're going to pick food. Here comes the picture they're going to put on there. There's the tax form. And they're going to pick food. Yeah, they're going to pick food. Now you'll see why in a minute. So now they go searching for the food options, just as we did before with income generation or whatever it was. And and there's one that they like there. This is rescue a meal for the hungry. And amazingly enough, look at that, 11 cents to feed a homeless person in America, which is like, exactly, wow. So they're now going to create that giving story, just as you and I created a minute ago, and they're going to say 1 is a bit stingy, let's do 18. So now they get this giving story. There's the photograph, and there you see the giving story right there. So the question now is, and you also see how they could embed that, et cetera, et cetera. The question now is suppose you were the recipient, you were the client in that case.
Yeah, wanting a tax return, yeah.
And then exactly what would that look like? Well, that would look like you getting something like this, which would be called the gratitude certificate. And again, everything in here is customizable and so on.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Is this like a web page that goes to them, or like a PDF, or what is it?
No, you could do it that way. You can do it as a PDF or so, but what most people do is they do it as a tangible thing. So, and you can see, it's kind of nice, you know. We just completed your tax return, and we've celebrated that by rescuing 80 meals.
Because this is definitely like a really good point to get across as well. Because obviously, like, you know, doing all this great work's fantastic, but if we let the clients know as well, you know, it could influence the decision as well.
Oh no, there's no question. There's no question that it does. There's no question that it does. And they like the line down the bottom there that simple goal here is to keep on making great things happen in our world together. So it's a nice kind of thing. But again, all of that is up to you as to how you do that, and we help you do that.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least it's really customizable and everything. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, we're probably right on time, so that's pretty good. Was that everything?
How did we do?
Cool. Because I guess from now is I'll, you know, relay this information to John. Even he can watch the video on the weekend or something. Because the rest of the day we've got our staff retreat and stuff, so we're not going to be able to do any more. And then, because I guess after that as well, we can sort of drum up a plan of how we want to tackle this, and, you know, what's the sort of percentage of things that we want to do, or, like, you know, what's important to him. And then that way we have all that information ready to go, and then we can, you know, get on board and start doing things straight away.
Yeah, so, and that's exactly right. So what we would do is that you get on, the way we would do that was we'd actually reverse that. We'd say, okay, come on board. And then
so you do that first instead?
Yeah, we do that first, because then that gives you access to it. You know, it's like,
and then you can see everything. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you're playing with it, and we basically we will suggest things like, you know, why don't you just imagine you've got $10 and just go through and just see what you can do, because we want people to have their mind blown by actually doing it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
And then, by the way, the other thing that we would do is you would get everybody on this app here.
Oh, so you do have an app. Okay, you do have a B1G1. That's awesome.
Now, the brilliant thing about the app, Rhys, is that in your case, we've obviously got access to the quote-unquote master, you know, the master level. You could actually do the business giving on here, but everybody would have access to this, which is called personal giving. And so they can set up their personal stuff. So I have one here, for example, which says every time I complete a run, something happens. And that comes out of my pocket. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think John would definitely get on board with something like that as well, because he loves doing that.
And everybody would have one of those, right? So how many people are there on the team that you have there?
At AFM, I think there's 17 or 18 of us.
Okay. Well, you imagine, and what they do with this kind of thing is they buddy up and they start setting their own little goals around not what financial targets they should hit, but what giving targets they should hit. It just changes. And so the typical thing that people say with B1G1 when it's correctly implemented is they say, you know what, this transformed our entity. And then when you say to them, you know, that's a very big call. Why would you say that? And what they say is because it shifted the spirit, right? And that's what this does, for sure.
No, I can definitely see how it will work that way. So, sorry, I got to actually go now because now.
No, you're off.
Time, so
okay. By the way, that video will be at Zoom 0. So wait, that's Zoom _ just an underscore, and then 0, and then .4. So now, as I press anything, no.
Okay, no. So it's a different one. Yep.
So the video is up on Vimeo. This one is going to be on your system as Zoom _ 0 .mp4. But what's going to happen is as I press this, your system is going to say converting Zoom file. Just let it go and then it will store it as zoom_0.mp4. Could be _1. But
yeah. It's just got to encode it. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Cool. Alrighty.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for your time.
Okay, great.
And, we'll probably be in contact next week or in a few weeks.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
No worries.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.